The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Body Bio. Get 20% off anything at bodybio.com with promo code Norman. Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. And Surfside iced tea and vodka, 3 grams of sugar, 100 calories, no bubbles. Get it at statesidevodka.com. On the show today, it's the book Ricky, which I think it's the first time we've ever done a book Ricky. As Jack Fritz, my co-host at WIP, joins us to talk about his new book on the Phillies called Ring the Bell. Poet laureate of the process. Mia Kang joins us to talk. She has, if you remember, she wrote a process poem that we read, and she has a new book out about the Roman Empire. So we're going to talk about that, and also she'll be doing poetry at the Live Ricky. And there is a team in the NBA in worse shape than the Sixers, and lots of people want to get pelted by ping pong balls at the lottery party. Surfside iced tea and vodka will be flowing at the lottery party. Now I see it every time I turn on Phillies game at Citizens Bank Park. And the wild thing now is I see it like literally everywhere on the Surfside fucking Instagram, like all over the country. I'm always blown away that this Philly based like distillery is now this giant national brand. We were their first advertising. It's wild.
Yeah. Have they gotten back to you about putting us on the can?
Oh, I haven't asked, but we didn't. We were supposed to have a call this week. We didn't have a fucking call. I got to have a call with them. I'm going to bring it up in the call. I want
really small on the bottom.
Yes.
Really so small. Just need a little bit.
So small. And there could be a run of 1,000 cans. I don't care how many cans.
Yeah, a run of 100,000 cans.
100,000 cans, million cans, whatever.
Could be anything.
It could be anything. Surfside iced tea and vodka is awesome. 100 calories, 3 grams of sugar, tastes fucking great. Better than anything in its category. I mean, they have a great logo. I will admit that, which I do think helps, but they taste way better than all the other products, which is like a great way to be the most popular one, is to taste better. Whether it's the iced tea and vodka, the iced tea lemonade and vodka, the peach tea and vodka, whatever it is. Get it wherever you get your canned cocktails, or just go to statesidevodka.com. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is right and I am wrong, as the lottery party did sell out. That is one Mike Levin.
Sold out. We did it.
Sold out.
You did it.
Thank you.
We're playing the Electric Factory.
We're playing
no empty seats or standing area.
No.
It is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much to everybody who bought tickets. This is, for context, this is more tickets than we've ever sold to a Live Ricky.
Sorry, you said for context, and I was like, you're going to talk about Furkan Korkmaz right now?
No.
Getting to that.
No, for context.
Yeah.
For context, this is more tickets than we've ever sold to a Live Ricky. It's almost... it's like substantially more than the last time we were at the factory, which was packed anyway. The difference this year is that like most of the room is standing room as opposed to seats for everybody. But it's not, I guess I would say, it's not lost on us that this was the worst year of all time and that we somehow are doing a show for more people than we've ever done for. And that is, I'm honored by it. So thank you so much to everybody who bought tickets.
Yeah, I got an email from Professor Jack this morning with the logos, some temp logos for poster board.
Oh, there you go.
Talking about it.
There you go.
Trying to make it real serious, real efficient, real legitimate.
Now, okay, we got a lot of, I knew this was going to happen. We got a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Entries.
Little brothers.
Offers, little brothers who want to get pelted by lottery balls at the lottery party. Some of these emails are actually almost disturbing, I think. So what I need to do is make sure that we can do it first. So we actually have a call with the Franklin Music Hall people this week, because there's two things we have to worry about here. Them being okay with 1,000 ping pong balls being thrown at once in their building. Also the idea of throwing them at one person and us protecting said person. So this is a great idea and I want it to happen, but we need to make sure we can do it first. And then I think we can start to whittle down who is actually allowed to do it. Do you think that is a fair way to proceed?
I think there's ways to do it no matter what, whether it's just me and you throwing with a couple other people here or there, or if it's everybody, like we'll find a way to do it.
We'll find a way to do it. And then we are going to have another special guest there. Do we want to say who it is, or are we going to keep it a secret?
No. We're still working on some stuff.
Okay. All right. Keep it a secret. We're going to keep it a secret. It's not Hanky. It's not Hanky.
Maybe this is the time that it is.
It's actually not. It's actually not Hanky. So maybe it might be at some point, but it certainly isn't yet. So before we get going with Jack and Mia, I assume have been following the Mavericks thing, like post Luka trade and then Nico Harrison stuff. It's all very
thing that people are not getting over.
Yes. And it is sort of Sixers-y, like Process era Sixers-y, and it's the rage from the fan base, the weirdness of the entire thing. And even the thing this week where Nico Harrison decides to do a roundtable with writers, but you're not allowed to record anything, audio or video, as if, like, even when you give that pretense to something, here was my opinion on it. I saw it and I thought to myself, well, if you just wanted to do this and say, hey, this is off the record, that I would understand. I would understand the off the record. There was actually a thing with Hinkie. I'm sure, like years ago I think it was the Penrose Diner. I remember Derek was there. I was there. There was a thing with Hinkie years ago where the whole thing was like off the record. Yeah. That I would get with Nico Harrison. Let him talk to these guys. Let him give his side of it. But to say that it's on the record, but you're not allowed to record it, shows a sort of fear of your own words that, like, is very Brian Colangelo-like, I think.
There was a shot at the game last night of Nico in the crowd where it cut to him, like, with his eyes sort of like to the side. Did you see that shot?
No.
Where his eyes, he's kind of like, it cuts to him and he's just like, he is looking weirder and weirder by the day. And the amount of times he's continuing to say defense wins championships as a reason to trade one of the best young players in the league who just got you to the championship. It's insane. Like, you could have traded Kyrie, who doesn't play much defense, for a more defensive minded player. But, like, just blanket saying anything I do is anything I did is under the cover of defense wins championships. And, like, that is sort of the answer to all of the questions. Like, the thing he did was insane. The trade was insane and it's indefensible. And it is the worst trade probably in modern sports history. And it always will be. And the fact that Anthony Davis is an injury prone, significantly older player is just going to keep making it look worse as the Lakers build around Luka for the next 10 years.
Yeah. And you know me, I'm like, I've always been, I could, even if you don't want to, I could understand a world in which they have more information and they're like, look, this guy's body is a time bomb, sure, and we have to explore this. But when you do that, this is the amazing part, is you could call any team in the NBA about any player, and no one's hanging up on you. Not everybody is saying yes, but you could call about literally any player in the NBA and offer Luka, and the person on the other side will not hang up. Maybe Wemby is the only player where they wouldn't, but even then they might not even hang up.
Even now, especially with the blood clot. Like, I think it could to not get 5 first round picks, to not get to not even get Austin Reeves, like just to get so little out of it, and just to only it is truly like.
How do you not call that? Like, don't you think if they called Milwaukee and
I think
said,
they did. I think that's the one call that they made.
Oh, about Giannis.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, you make that call about every top 7 player in the NBA. You just call them.
Yeah.
You call about fucking Jokic. Jokic is 30 years old. Call about everybody.
Yeah. I just think we assume that because people like he came from Nike, right?
Yes.
So there's just so much assuming that like a business person who did business is just like smart across the board. And this is just like dumb as shit. This is dumb and indefensible on every single level. And the fact that he didn't come up as like an assistant GM or in a coaching capacity or playing in the league, the fact that he was just sort of like friends with Kobe and made his bones doing that, it is. There's no way that anyone can defend any part of it, and how he continues to be in the news by being weird as shit is only prolonging how continuously baffled everybody is.
Yeah, and I tried to, at the beginning of it, I tried to like see it from his perspective.
I remember that. I think a lot of like sort of, I'll zig and everyone's going this way. I have the other opinion. And there just isn't one. There just truly isn't. There isn't one.
And as I said, I do think there's a world in which you can trade the guy, but there's not a world in which you can trade the guy and only get Anthony Davis and a first round pick.
Yeah. Like if your dick hurts, like take Advil, don't chop it off. Right. Like that's sort of like, there's no one to defend that. Like you're just doing a dumb fuck thing. There's no like, masterful gambit, chopping your dick off, sir. Like it's just, it's dumb as shit. It's dumb as shit. You did a dumb as shit thing.
Masterful gambit, chopping your dick off. Yeah. Well, I mean, unless there's, fucking Heat get the 8 seed and now face the Cavs behind.
Spoelstra he's just got to be such a good coach. And
but why don't the teams win more regular season games then?
I don't know. Also baffling. But when it comes down to like a 1-game thing, obviously they trade Jimmy. They have certainly less talent than probably every other playoff team. But they just sort of find a way. And as someone who is rooting for the Cavs to make it out of the East, I'm a little bit, if the fucking Heat beat them, I'll be so annoyed. I don't think they will. But also I'm just like fucking Spoelstra, man. And
if the Heat take down the Cavs, does that puts a ding in playoff Jimmy, right? Because it means that it happens no matter who's on the Heat, right?
Probably, yeah. That is a real Heat culture moment. We have to root against Heat culture at every opportunity. Did you watch the game last night? The Heat Hawks game? There were 2 plays that were just the craziest thing in the world at the end of the game, where like a lunatic tip in like off the backboard from like not from a tip in place. It just sort of like happened to carom in, and then end of a shot clock, the ball like slips out of, I think it's Bam's hands from around the nail, and it goes right to former Sixer Haywood Highsmith right under the basket for like a shot clock buzzer beating tip in. Right, like truly as if he passed it to him and he didn't. It was just like sort of caromed off his like leg or something. I don't remember how. And it's just like good things just happen for Miami. Just like shit, just good shit happens. And that game went to overtime. It was a good game. It was a fun game. But I really would like any Mickey Mouse Miami shit to get the fuck out of here.
Well, coming up, I mean, rest of the pod today, Jack Fritz, and then we have Mia on to talk about the poetry. But
very fun. I enjoyed talking to Mia. She's very cool, and the poems are cool. Her perspective on the Sixers and how she got into it was cool. Jack, I mean, I just got to do a lot of prospect stuff with Jack, and I was very happy about it. I think I started glowing during it.
During the
prospect talk.
The prospect talk. Yeah. It was very, I was like, here it is. Here's Mike. Here's Mike. Yep.
I love it.
And I think at one point you mentioned, well, I don't want to ruin it. Actually, listen for this. At one point, Jack, who is obsessed with baseball prospects, at one point you mentioned a guy who's like, I don't even know.
No, he knew who he was. No, he knew who he was.
Okay.
He knew who he was. There's just like, what's going on with this guy? He was like, I don't really know. He was an exciting prospect and has sort of like fallen off the map a little bit. Might have some other stuff behind the scenes. Who knows? But no, I don't want to throw Jack under the bus like that. We're locked. We're simpatico. We're locked in, right? On the same level.
And then the pods leading up. I think we have to start talking about the prospects we might fucking draft. This will be like the sort of off season we haven't had in a very long time, actually.
Yeah.
Be an interesting off season. All right. Coming up, Jack Fritz. We take a break.
Hang on.
From the Ricky. Well, just stick with us. Don't go anywhere. We want to talk to you about Body Bio. Mike, longtime Body Bio customer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Butyrate guy.
Oh, yeah.
E-Light guy.
Always
an E-Light guy. Body Bio is a supplement company. It's been with the Ricky for a long time. Family owned, operated out of Jersey. The South Jersey. Souther even than I will live. Vineland, I think, is where they come from. But they do things the right way. Care about quality. Care about your body in a respectful way. The product they are known best for, we just talked about a couple with Mike there, but the product they're known best for is called PC, which stands for phospholipid complex. Now you might be like I was like, the fuck is that? I'm going to make it very easy for you. Your cells are what decide what gets into your body and what gets out of your body. Basically, they're like the decision makers in your body. So they keep the bad stuff out, let the good stuff in. But over time, as you get older and washed, like me, Mike's getting there, by the way, very close to washed. It gets harder for your body, for those cells to make those decisions. PC helps keep your cells healthy. So when there's pesticides and mold and microplastics and all those toxins in the environment that your cells should keep out, PC helps you keep that stuff out. But it also lets you let the good stuff in. And I know you might be saying, but I'm not washed. And it's possible you're not washed. But sometimes you get sick. And when you get sick, your cells make worse decisions as that as well. PC helps your body. It is something that everybody can take. Go to bodybio.com. Use code Norman, Norman, for 20% off any purchase, not just of PC. If you want to be like Mike, use Butyrate. If you want to be like Mike and me, use E-Light, 20% off, 20% off, 20% off. Pew, 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 pew. Just use code Norman, Norman. Body Bio. I got to talk to this guy again. I talk to him at least 20 hours every week.
Wow.
Joining us now, my co-host on WIP and the biggest Phillies fan I've ever known in my life, one Jack Fritz. Talk about his book. He's got a book coming out, Ring the Bell, Phillies book. Very exciting. I thought Mike might be excited to actually talk about the Phillies. He's always dying to talk about the Phils.
I am excited about it.
Well, listen, I would love to talk about auto camp. I feel like Mike and I are like kindred spirits when it comes to the shit no one cares about.
Yeah.
Like that's our wheelhouse. But Spike, good to talk to you, and I'm glad to see you recovered from your big drinking binge the other night.
Oh yeah, they were giving me hell yesterday on the show, Mike, because I had one drink on Thursday night, and I don't drink really very much anymore, and I had one during the week, and I had a really big headache on Friday. I DoorDashed Advil to,
wow.
Yeah, it was very sad.
One drink?
It was a tough scene.
Yeah, one drink. Mike, I don't know if you know this, but like when I hired Jack years ago, he was a Ricky guy, and I don't think since he's been hired, I don't think he's listened to the pod one time since he was hired.
No, so smart, dude.
Yep, just using to get my way in. But I did. Hold on, I was Philip at one of the lottery parties.
So,
yeah, you were. Sure.
When no one knew who I was yet. I was intern Philip.
Yeah.
And I did listen a couple times because for some reason I had a Sixers podcast, and I was like, how do I talk about the Sixers? So.
Oh right. Yes.
Yes. So, but yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. What a fun time.
Well, Jack, I like the book very much. I have some notes from it. I have longer notes just talking about minor league Phillies that we can get to.
Well, the book, by the way, you can just real quick, just at the top. The book, by the way, you can order at ringthebellbook.com.
Yeah.
Ships in June.
If you want to make it a Sixers book, you just add a ring that bell brother.
Yes.
Brett Brown style.
Yes.
And then you just make it a series.
It ships in June. It's Mike and Kevin Reevey wrote it. And if you order, you get free shipping, and Jack will sign the book. So there you go.
Yeah, and Kevin will sign the book, and sometimes Ike will sign the book.
Yeah, sometimes. Anyway, go ahead, Mike. Sorry for interrupting.
So what was the reason for writing the book? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so probably about 2 years ago, Kevin reached out to me and we met up, and he's like, I want to get back into writing again. He's written a couple books in the past, and he's like, I think you're a perfect guy to kind of capture the Phils. He seems like you care a lot about them. And I was like, this is a great idea. Now, this was when my first son was young, and I was like, this is fine. And then I decided we're going to have a second kid on top of it. And it was, the time got a little bit more wrapped up. But overall, like I've always wanted to kind of, I've always looked at the book of basketball, right, by Bill Simmons as like the gold standard of like a fun, easy, passionate read about basketball. And I've always had a dream of kind of doing something similar with the Phillies, and the opportunity presented itself. And here we are. I can't believe I helped co-write a book. A lot of people make the joke I didn't really do much with it, but I did. It was a lot, and writing's hard, but it was certainly a lot of fun to write.
What's your? I don't think I don't know. Like, what's your Phillies origin story? Like, do you remember a moment where it like clicked? You were like, this is what I like more than the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so I remember the first time I went to the vet, it was Phil's Marlins, and I remember it was with my granddad. My granddad was a big baseball guy, and he really got me into baseball in general. Now, the Phillies at this time stunk. I mean, this was like Omar Dahl and Brandon Duckworth, and it was not the Wolfpack, Padilla, and so I remember I went to the game and I was like, this is awesome. I threw the speed pitch thing, and that was really cool on like the concourse of the vet. Now they got a whole like bullpen area in the back of CBP. This was just like a random rinky-dink thing in the middle of the concourse of the vet. And then I think it was Tomey. I think it was Jim Tomey, and they got him. I tried to emulate his swing, and as I started to play baseball, I loved playing the game. And this is right around the time that Utley and Rollins and Howard and Cole was eventually there. Started climbing through the ranks, and they started getting good, and I just loved them. It was definitely from an early age, but I would say that my granddad was the first one to really get me in a Phil's mindset.
I think those speed pitch things at a ballpark, there's nothing like it when you're a kid. It's you're drawn to it. It is magnetic. Yeah. You are going to that thing. It's like, honestly, if we didn't have smartphones and we just had more speed pitch things around, I think that people would be fine. I think that it's a substitute if it's like, I need to go look at this thing. I got to see how fast I can throw. And then that kid's going to go, and then I'm going to go afterwards, and I'm going to go faster than that kid. It's such a... Everyone's just competing
at all times. And the gun might have been lying, but I remember I hit 45 miles an hour.
You think it's a hot gun?
It might have been a hot gun. I remember it was like 45 miles an hour, and I was like, Granddad, we're going to the league.
It's honestly notable to me now that when I look at it at my advanced age, I still want to do it, but I know that if I do it, my arm is going to hurt for literally will hurt for weeks afterwards.
Like you had one drink and you couldn't even work the next day. You're trying to go to the gun?
Yeah, well, there's the pressure of everyone watching as well. Sure. If it was just a gun,
Michael
by
Rubin
myself.
Style.
What's that?
Michael Rubin style.
Yes.
That was pretty rough.
I can throw a ball better than that. Yeah.
Well, the tough part was when you go to the shore, right? They have the speed pitch on the boardwalk. But that one is like out on the literal boardwalk. So there gets like a crowd around. I remember one time we went to the Ocean City boardwalk, and this is like in college, I think. And like we got up there and all these little kids started gathering around, and they were like 80, and I hit 79, and it was a total failure. So the speed pitch is great. It's a good thing for baseball.
Going to the book, just sort of working my way through it. I always love, this is the sort of thing that, Jack, I think we're about the same age, Jack. I'm 35.
Yeah, 31.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, wow. Okay. Mr. Young Man over here.
Yep.
The like, you hear things from like your parents or your grandparents of like how good certain people were before you were born. Like Steve Carlton going 27-10 with a 1.97 ERA when the rest of the team in games that he didn't pitch won 30 games. It was 30-85. It's just crazy. And every time you see it, it's just like, that's ridiculous. That's unbelievable. I liked seeing it again.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Reggie White sack record where he had 21 sacks in 12 games, and it's just how is that physically possible? But yeah, I mean Steve Carlton it's just because pitchers I think we've relegated to, well, they don't really, they don't factor in decisions as much as they used to.
Right.
Well, I mean, this guy threw 300 innings a year, which is blasphemous. I can't even compute watching a guy throw 300 innings a year. I don't think they were too concerned about the third time through the order numbers when Steve Carlton was on the mound. And just the feeling of, I guess the story goes that he would walk in and every player would be like, well, it's win day today, even though the rest of the team was terrible. I don't know, man. I wish I could have seen him live. There's obviously a lot of players I wish I could have seen live, but being able to appreciate and fully digest the Steve Carlton thing is certainly up there.
Yeah, borderline Wilt numbers.
Well, yeah. even I was thinking on my long walk this morning about I'll get to how this gets back to the Phillies and this. I saw there's somebody posted a YouTube of Nirvana playing Swarthmore College in 1990. And there was no video of it. It was just audio of it. And I started thinking about the pre-smartphone history or whatever, about how it's really just video clips and what you read about. And it's so hard to contextualize things that we didn't see and didn't live through, or just didn't live through at all. So like your book talks about from 64 on, but I was there for 93 and you weren't. Even 80, I was only 4 years old. And I guess I just wonder how you think about those particular eras, being a big Phillies fan, but also not living through it at all.
Well, I mean, you try to read as much as you can, and I like listening to older people talk about baseball. That might be my granddad. We grew up and he would just tell me about Ted Williams and how these guys were the best. And I just think it's so interesting because I don't know how people today feels like they can barely even follow sports, and it seems like back in the day it was way more like legends, and you would hear these guys almost through word of mouth in a way. And it's so interesting because everyone we talked to, it seems like their favorite player was Richie Allen growing up. Dick Allen was Philadelphia's favorite. Every kid, I guess, around that time was Dick Allen. But I guess I just, I like listening to older people talk about the game. I think it's one of those sports that just gets passed down. I think that's what has kept baseball alive, is your dad or your granddad teaches you the game, and then you pass it down to the next generation. I think that's what's kind of kept baseball alive, in cities like Philadelphia, where obviously it goes back to 1883. Then they only have 2 titles in a long, long time. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's always, I've always tried to respect, the older guard. I would never not have Mike Schmidt in my Mount Rushmore, and try to make sure that we honor the old era of Phillies baseball because it was a special time.
Well, you bring up Schmidt. It feels like Schmidt and Embiid, there's a similarity there of the kind of player that people are respectful of their greatness, but also very frustrated with at all times. And it's sort of when, in 30 years, when people look back at the Embiid era, obviously they're going to feel a lot of things. But if you didn't live through the Embiid era, you're not going to really know what it was like. And so that's a little bit how I feel with Schmidt, where after the fact, he's the guy. But at the time, still sort of residual frustration. Talk about Schmidt Embiid.
Yeah. And I think Spike and I actually have talked about this. I don't know if we brought it up on WIP or not, but you touched on it there. We're going to look back on Joel Embiid 20 years from now and say, holy cow, what a talent, what a player. And the people that live through it are going to probably tell a different tale. And that's how the Schmidt thing is. And I just remember, not to make everything about my granddad, but when I was growing up and we would talk, he hated Schmidt. He couldn't stand Mike Schmidt. He thought he was mopey. He thought he never had a big hit in his life, which is ironic because he did win MVP and then World Series MVP in 1980. So he must have clutched up one time, but I don't know what it's really how you connect with the city. Now, the unfortunate part about Embiid is I think he did connect with the city. And then he was he was like the city's son for 5 years there. And now it's obviously reaching a frustration point. I do think hopefully that we get to the point where we start feeling bad for Joel rather than being mad at Joel, because it sucks, man. I mean, this guy's the most talented Sixer I've ever seen. And then, everyone can argue about the others, but yeah, it's interesting to see the guys that connect with the city versus the guys that don't. Now, Schmidt also did play through a different time. I mean, we're much calmer now, I think. We still have our edge in a way, but I mean, back then it was mean, man. It was really mean. And he was one of those kind of sensitive guys that obviously heard all the noise. I would be very curious to see how he would do in the social media era. Would he be quote tweeting people and doing stuff like that? I could see it.
He'd be crashing out.
100% crashing out. I do think someone needs to steal his idea of, wearing the wig and the glasses when coming out and kind of breaking the ice. I think that was a good move that he pulled in the 80s. But yeah, it's really fascinating how sometimes with even the best players, there's just something off. And then you have like obviously you have the Harpers and the Iversons and the Utleys and the Dawkins, and it's like they just connect. But Schmidt I think now people are like, you guys are crazy. What in the world are you guys talking about? The guy's the best, arguably the best third baseman of all time, and no doubt about it, the best Philly of all time. How could they ever hate the guy? But we didn't really live through it, and I think that we'll eventually get there with Joel.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you in part by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. I am home alone this weekend, Mike, with my dogs. Wife in New Orleans. And
just like Macaulay Culkin.
Yes. Yep. You should see a huge cheese pizza just for me last night. Wow. Also setting booby traps for robbers.
Yes.
For your dog. For my dog. I was thinking last night, I was like, Val's not here. There's room in the bed. The dogs will come sleep with me. They did not. They chose to sleep on the Big Barkers all by themselves. They each have a Big Barker. They know, like, they could spread out on the Big Barker, but they know their joints are being supported.
And there's no booby traps.
And there's no booby traps. Right. I have that bucket over the bed that'll, dip big tar drink on them.
Yeah. Paint cans.
Paint cans. Yeah. What Big Barker does is it keeps your dog healthier. It's just like that. You go to bigbarker.com/Ricky. If you go to bigbarker.com/Ricky, and I will get to the biggest benefit in a second. The smaller benefits, Process Pup patches, black and white one, red, white, and blue one, free stickers, all that kind of stuff. Send us a picture of your dog on the bed, official Process Pup, all that stuff is great. But why Big Barker was made in the first place is to give your dog a healthier place to sleep that supports your dog's joints. So if your dog is young, you start them on the Big Barker, and then the older they get, as they develop arthritis, just like we do, your dog will stay springier for longer. If your dog is older and already maybe creaking a little bit, man, the relief that the Big Barker will give them. What?
No, I was
just reacting.
To the relief.
Oh yeah, relief. Feel better. And Penn Vet did a study, showed all these things to actually be effective with Big Barkers. Reductions in joint stiffness, reduction in pain severity, improvement in joint function, all those things.
Addition by reduction.
Addition by reduction. That's what they say at Big Barker. That's what they should say. And I know you are thinking to yourself, well, Big Barker's a little expensive. Well, here's the thing. Do you want to buy 7 different dog beds over the next 10 years? Or do you just want to buy one?
No,
right?
I just want to do the one.
I just want to do the one. There's a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten there. They replace it for free. I also want to ask you, when your dog starts turning 8, 9, whatever, do you want your dog to be in pain every day? Or do you want your dog to be feeling good? It's like when you spread it out over the length of time, you're going to have this bed. It's really not. It is a great investment. It's an investment in your dog. And
I like buying something and not having to worry about it again.
Yes, ever again.
Like, never again.
Never again. So
run to the store to get another shitty bed because his 6th shitty bed ripped or broke or something.
It's funny you say that. Scotchy, who we adopted, she had this one little bed she liked from the shelter that we brought here. it's maybe a year old. There's like stuffing coming out of the side of it or whatever. It's like most dog beds are like that. That's not what Big Barker's like. Nope. As I mentioned, a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten, they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. If your dog won't sleep on it, whatever, they will refund you fully. They'll even pay for the shipping. It's handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds. I guess I'm a little biased because my dad was close to Schmidt and I was around him a lot when I was younger. But like he actually reminds me more of, because it is driving me crazy how people talk about Schmidt in the negative, like the people who are negative about him. But the way he acts actually reminds me more of, he's obviously a way better player, but reminds me more of McNabb. And that there's really just this sort of like, man, fuck you guys. Like just about the fans. And I know he loves some of them. I don't think he feels that way all the time, but I think there was like this sort of general, and this is one thing that Joel did voice, even though he was saying he was talking about Marcus Hayes. I think he was talking about the fans, like as a proxy. He's using Marcus Hayes as a proxy. Like, you guys just don't appreciate me and you don't understand how hard this is. And like, I think Schmidt felt that way. I think McNabb felt that way. And I think Joel has gotten there, but so Fransky wrote the foreword to your book. And we love Fransky. I'm trying to think with your age, you do have great Harry memories, I would imagine too, Harry Callis. And there's like, do you remember listening to Harry the same way that you listen to Scott and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, actually I wrote the Harry chapter in the book. And
made me cry.
Wow.
That's awesome. But
that's you cried. It is awesome. Yes, it is awesome. It is awesome.
Good. Yeah. No, Harry. Because Harry's the first voice. The first voice that I had, and he was always there. And I think that's what connects a city to a baseball team when they're good, and sometimes when they're bad. Is obviously like you have to be with the announcers for 3 hours a night. 3 hours a night, and every night at 7:05. Now it's 6:45, 6:40 last year, but 7:05 mostly. You're going to hear Harry come on, and you think about all the moments. You think about after 2000, or after 9/11, and when he cracked the mic for the first time after 9/11, and to play that, I think we played on WIP. It seems like every year, and just the way he I think he had an amazing ability to sound human. And, I think sometimes broadcasters don't really feel human. They feel a little disconnected. And I think Harry was the opposite. He felt like one of your friends. And, I still remember, obviously the Bobby Abreu inside the park home runs, an unbelievable call, Chase Utley's first home run hit over the head of Gabe Kapler, welcome to the show, Mr. Utley. And, I didn't, going back and reading and hearing his Hall of Fame speech, and it crushed the Hall of Fame speech. And then at the end, when he died, I remember exactly where I was. I think we all remember exactly where we were when we found out that Harry passed. And I was sitting in some assembly in 9th grade, and I was before baseball practice. And I remember I looked at my phone, and it was Harry Callis died. And I had to go out. I don't think a death had really impacted me by that point. I didn't really get it. But, when he passed, it legitimately felt like we were losing a friend. And I tried to honor him as good as he could in the book. It's so interesting to me that there's a whole generation now that has no recollection of Harry Callis. Because when I was growing up, he was such a titanic figure in the city. And now there's a whole generation that has like no recollection of any Harry calls, but he rose to the big moments. He could like keep his voice under control in big moments, which was crazy. And I just think one of my favorite Harry calls is when they were going to try to make the wild card in I think 2005, and they're going with the Astros, and Craig Biggio hits a home run to sink their wild card hopes basically, and he goes like, home run Craig Biggio, you got to be kidding me. Just like so disgusted. And it really summed up how everyone felt at the time. Yeah. Man, he was the best, and seems like everyone has a great Harry story.
Yeah. I want to get to the prospects. I just want to say that I had never heard the Jim Fregosi quotes about the people who are on WIP are fucking their mothers.
You've never heard that before?
I had never heard of it. No, that's a pretty colorful quote.
It's fucking their mothers and something with their sisters, right? If I remember
The
correctly.
people that listen to WIP sleep with their sisters.
Dude, did you read about that whole story? Because it's my dad that like broke the story that he said that to the reporters.
Sure.
And then that's where how's the team came from Glenn, right?
Yeah. Glenn went down there and he said, I'm not answering any questions about what I said about WIP or something to that effect. Like, don't even bring it up. And they're horrible. And Glenn just goes, well, how's the team? So, yeah, it's a great Glenn story.
All timer.
But we get to prospects, what people wanted to listen to. This is what it's all about.
Comes. Prospects with Mike and Jack.
Because it's the process all the time. It is
100%
of the time the process. It is like the Phillies are contending for a championship and also doing the process at the same time, always. That's the minor league. That's the beauty of it. I love minor league baseball. My favorite minor league season ever is Ranger Suarez in the Venezuelan Summer League with a 78-1 strikeout to walk ratio. I fell in love, and for him to be as good as he got and to send them to the World Series, get the last out a couple years ago, it's just there's no more validating feeling of being a fan. It's just watching Ranger Suarez on a box score, being like, that's a cool name, and then he's awesome. I love him. He's the man.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about minor league baseball that's so fun is there's no real stakes. Like it's just you're kind of following these guys for fun. And like there's a connection, I think, obviously when a guy outside chooses us, he's revered, right? Like everyone's like Bryce and Wheeler, whatever. But there's just something about when a homegrown guy comes up and is actually awesome. I think it just hits in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Dodgers Cubs with my family the other day. My brother-in-law and his kids are Cubs fans, and my wife's Dodgers fans. So we went together, and Ben Brown was pitching for the Cubs. Former Philly prospect Ben Brown, drafted in the 33rd round. I was like, I like this guy. They trade him for David Robertson, and he shut out the Dodgers. I was like, this is great. I feel like this is my win. I don't even care about this game, but I'm having a good time. All right, you already mentioned Otto Kemp. He's got to be up. He's just a utility guy that swings a bat. Swings from the right side. He's just a good player. He should be up. What do you think?
He's got a great baseball name, first of all. I mean, Otto Kemp. Can't you already see like the headline when they hopefully win the NLCS or whatever? He has a big hit and just automatic. I started thinking about that this morning. So, yeah, I mean, he's interesting from the standpoint. They put him in left field for his first time in his life the other day. So clearly they're trying to find a way to get him up here. Yep. And especially, I think it could be Kepler in center field, and then they try one of these guys, whether it's Crawford, whether it's Rincones, whether it's Kemp, whatever. But he is, he's like came from a no-name school. Yep. He's just risen through the ranks. He's a little short, little small, but his OPS is over 1,000, and he's a favorite of all my prospect guys within the organization.
Yeah, big time. The defense in center is going to be rough with Kepler out there at his age, but when they're not hitting, it's just like somebody's got to come up there and swing the goddamn bat. I love Rincones. I've loved him for years. I don't think he's ever going to hit lefties, but like I love a platoon. I'm so big on platoon. Lefty, righty, let's maximize it. What's Cody Clemens doing out there? He's just sitting there. He hasn't played. He hasn't started a game in weeks. What's going on? Just waste of time. Platoon it all day. Platoon.
Yeah, I think Rob Thompson kind of forgets Cody Clemens is there. It's like Cody Clemens walks in the clubhouse and he's like, "Oh, yeah, there he is. There he is." It kind of seems like they're biding time until Weston Wilson is good to go, and then they'll probably option Cody Clemens and maybe clears waivers and ends up. Maybe that's why they're not playing him. Honestly, is because they don't want him to really do anything, and then they can just get him through waivers and he can go back to Lehigh Valley. But yeah, I mean, Rincones, he hasn't been healthy. And then I think in the spring, he obviously everyone was like, oh my God, who's this guy? Yeah. I try not to get too excited about prospects. I don't only get excited about prospects. Come on. I know. So, but yeah, he certainly is starting to make a name for himself. And I mean, really finding a good combination of power and pure hitting. I mean, he's hitting, I think, 292, I believe, up in AAA right now. So a nice little mix of power and real hitability. Yeah. I like the Reading pitchers. I'm glad Iverson Cassiano is back. I was bummed that they had to lose him. Chasse seems to be not figuring out quite yet, but you've seen enough to know that once he gets it all put together, he's really special. Gene Cabrera is fine.
He should be up at some point in the next couple of years. But I like I'm much more of a this year. Lately, the hitters in the minor league system are much more interesting to me, and I'm excited about. Me and Sixers Adam are always texting about Hendry Mendez at Reading.
Nice. Wow, we're doing Hendry Mendez ball here.
I like anybody that look. It's not surprising to shouldn't be surprising to anyone that what carries over on a basketball court for me is like basketball IQ, passing the ball, playing defense, playing both ways. Hendry or these kinds of guys having a high walk rate, low strikeout rate. Like that's the way to my heart. That's just like, especially as a young guy. He's young at Reading. He's playing left field. And he takes a pitch. That's all I really need you to do, man. And
I'm so scarred from watching the Phillies in the postseason the last couple of years, where if I see a ball like looking like it's traveling out of the zone, I'm like almost yelling at the TV, "Don't swing, don't swing, don't swing." Yeah. And the nice part about a lot of the minor league guys is that I think they do work a high quality at bat. Otto Kemp works a high quality at bat. Crawford, I think, I don't think he's a super big chase guy. Aiden Miller, I think that's like his calling card right now. Is definitely. He's battling an injury at Reading, and he's obviously super young. But I think that the best quality he has right now is he's got a really, really good eye. So I think that as these hitters continue to progress and get to the big league level, I think we're going to see the quality of at bats from this team hopefully be reined in, because the first pitch swinging and the chasing, it's enough to drive you up a wall. But the one guy I didn't mention with the Reading staff is our boy Griff McGarry, who is now almost 30 it seems like, but he's allowed like 2 hits this entire year, so we're starting to get excited about Griff again.
I love minors relievers. I love guys that come up. I'm a closer. I'm a reliever, and that's what I'm going to do in the majors. I think it's just there's such a specific kind of guy that does that, and I need Griff to just be like full time relief. I like Titan Hayes lower down.
Oh, there he is.
In Clearwater. I've been excited about when we pan, but I'm worried he's never going to stay healthy.
Quick question about prospects and like 30-year-old guys. I've been seeing on TikTok, is there a show where they keep showing guys like getting the meeting where they get called up? Because somehow that's made it into my TikTok feed, them telling the guy that he's getting his chance in the majors. Is that like it's all very high quality. I didn't know if there was a Netflix show or something going on where they show that stuff. I think
it's the social media craze. Like they know those videos do numbers on social media, so they set it up. And they say you're going to the show. They always have some like lie that they got to make the kid's heart sink for no reason.
Yeah. Like that. It's like when the kids get like the scholarship on like, hey, you're a walk on, now you're getting a scholarship. That kind of thing.
Like well, it's kind of like when it's like when they sent Kendrick to Japan.
Yes, remember that's an all timer. That video is an all timer. Yeah.
That's good. We're moving down the road. I still got guys to talk about. Really hoping for Brian Rincon at Jersey Shore. Can field his position. Light bat, but he's young. He's young. And he knows how to take a pitch. He knows how to work a count. That's my kind of guy.
No, I know, but I'm so scarred with these field first bats that never develop, like Gamboa from a couple. I know.
Yeah. I was such an Archimedes.
It's like a process guy who can't shoot. Exactly. It's exactly the thing. Is if he just learns how to shoot,
he learns how to hit.
Yeah.
It's a little different. So, it's like a process. Yeah. I can see a little bit, but the fact being able to. My least favorite kind of guy is like someone with like a 4.1 walk rate and also light power. And you got to give me something. Like Michael Martinez was the ultimate like frustrating guy. And at least if you're taking walks, then I'm at least interested. I won't waste your time. I do like Raylan Heredia, and I'm excited for him to have a bounce back season. Last year was rough for him, but I'm interested. I like Dylan Campbell, who they got from the Dodgers. He's been hot as hell lately.
Smoking the baseball.
Which I like. The most Sixersy prospect, who's like not even really a prospect, who just feels like he would be someone on the Sixers, is Clearwater outfielder Avery Owusu-Asiedu. Long, rangy. He doesn't know how to hit. But he's an athlete. He's got potential, and I'm keeping an eye on him for sure.
Yeah. Well, and all like he's a model's darling. Hits the ball super hard. Hits the ball super far, but probably won't make enough contact. And has no idea how to work a walk. But he
swinging a tennis racket.
Exactly right. He's the best. Yeah, dude. That Clearwater. I mean, because then I don't. You can keep going, but there's some fun guys down Clearwater as well.
My two favorite players in the system are Eduardo Tait, catcher at Clearwater, 18 years old, just mashes the fucking ball. I'm already penciling him in. Opening day 2028. It's over. Don't need anybody else. Just get me a bridge there. And I love Arun Escobar. I mean, I think he's just nasty, dude. He's a tank. He's also pretty small, but if he can stick at second, like that's a really, really good player that I'm excited. His exit velocity numbers are crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm already ready to move on from Stott and have Arun there. I'm ready to move on from we'll get Trey in the outfield one of these years. Aiden will be the shortstop. But yeah, the Arun Escobar hype train is going nowhere. I love Arun Escobar. He like righty only Jose Ramirez. That's what he looks like to me. And then Tait swings just like Schwarber, but has not even close to the eye that Kyle Schwarber has, which is a little disappointing. But he's also 19, so. Yeah, so he'll come along, and then the one guy I know, I think you'll eventually love Mike if he can stay healthy, and if you squint, you see Mike Trout is Griffin Burkholder, their second round pick last year. Now the problem with him being Mike Trout is that he might have late career Mike Trout where he's already hurt all the time. So that's the only thing holding him back from possibly being Mike Trout is Griffin Burkholder. But yeah, the minors are the best.
I've liked Carson DiMartini more than Burkholder or Nori so far, but but I'm excited about all of them. I like that they went hitting first. It's been such a pitching forward organization for so long and haven't been able to develop hitters, and it seems like that's starting to change. It's like we've been in 5 years of that starting to change, but I do think like officially it is going to. What's going on with another guy I've liked a lot, but has been nowhere for a while is I don't think I know how to pronounce his name. Nikal Puaka-Grego in the complex.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, there it is.
I don't know.
There it is.
I don't know.
Fine. Yeah, you beat him. Congrats, Mike.
No, I mean he was
Jack.
nasty in the complex league a couple years ago. He misses a whole season and he was bad last year. And I think he got suspended for something. I don't know. It was, he's from New Zealand. I was just like, this guy's interesting.
He is interesting. Farabis is the next catching prospect.
I like Farabis too. Illyrio, yes. Come on now.
Yeah.
Are you a Casey Stewart guy? Do you believe in
not really.
in him coming out? You're not. Okay.
Not really. Brad Pacheco is the most underrated pitcher in the system.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on him.
Brad Pacheco. Now he's another guy that can't stay healthy, but who cares? It's all
who
about
cares,
the upside,
man?
baby.
It's the minors.
It's all about the upside.
It's the minors, baby. It's minor league baseball. Oh, I wish I lived in a city that had like a Phillies minor league team. I would just be there all the time. I would be there constantly.
Yeah.
I'd be having my own gun. I'd be working the gun, being like, he's up a little bit. The stadium gun's a little hot. My gun's right. I would be all over it.
You got to move to Lehigh Valley then.
Just don't move to the Jersey Shore, where the Lakewood Blue Claws play. You know, now the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. That stadium's a disaster. Hitters go there and die. Spike.
I've been there. I wish I could go to. I wish Reading was closer and able.
Reading's fun,
but
Reading's fun. It's like baseball town, right? And that what they call
baseball
it?
Town.
Yeah, Reading's
town.
awesome.
We might be planning a little trip up there to go see Aiden in a little bit. So
that's fun.
Yeah, Reading's. And Jack also hosts. If you want a Phillies podcast, everybody asks me, what is the Phillies podcast to listen to? High Hopes is Jack's pod with James Seltzer. So once again, Jack's book, Ring the Bell, with his buddy Kevin, comes out in June now. I was lied and told it would come out in May. Now it's coming out in June. But if you go to ringthebellbook.com, the shipping is free, and Jack and Kevin sign it. And I truly, as somebody who reads your emails every day, the idea of you writing a book is actually insane. There's not even any capital letters in your emails. I can't even believe it. I'm very proud of you.
Well, and now we're going through the editing phase. A lot of red. A lot of red on my pages.
That's the version you sent us had the edits in there. So
I know, my bad. It's all we have. So no, I don't exactly exude brilliance. I try to write how I talk, and someone's paid to clean it up. Isn't that the job?
That's a good point. You're paying them, actually. I believe. I'm sure on some level. Well, congrats on the book, Jack, and everyone go order the book. So there is Jack Fritz. Oh, and I just noticed what's on your fucking screen. Host of Fritz and Friends. That is not what the show is called. Nice try. You had your opportunity for Fritz and Friends, buddy. All right.
Well, sort of. I was shut down before it even got started and got hot. So.
Right. Yeah, stab you in the back.
Stabbed in the back. Yeah.
There it is. All right. See you later, Jack.
All right. See ya.
There he is. Jack Fritz. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by L.L. Pavorsky of L.L. Pavorsky Jewelers. 400 plus. Think about that, Mike. I want you to think about that. 400 plus Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners. I think it's over 430 now.
I feel like it's slowed down too much. We need to be at 500. We maybe need to be at 500 by the lottery party.
Wow, that's a lot of engagements you're demanding.
Time to do it. Spring is sprung.
Spring is sprung.
I think it's enough with the 4s. I'm ready for 5.
Yeah,
I'm ready for 500.
Let's get to 500. Actually, in fairness, I don't actually know what the number is at now. I know it's above 430, but I know I'm going to get a text from Lee as soon as this comes out as to what the number is.
We've been stuck at 430 for a long time.
Well, because I've just been saying it. And actually, that's on Lee. You got to tell me what the number's at.
Got to update the numbers.
Yeah, you got to update the numbers. So many Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners have purchased engagement rings from Lee. I actually started to think about it because we have the lottery party coming up. So we started looking through old lottery party stuff. I was like, oh, there's the engagement. There's the TTP ring or whatever. Oh, there's the engagement at the lottery party. Oh, there's the wedding at the lottery party. I was like, oh, what the fuck were we doing? But LL was part of all of it. Make him a part of your love. You're going to love the experience. There's no pressure. He's going to get you a great product. He's going to get you a great price. He's going to be patient with you. He's like, there's a reason he's been in business almost 40 years now at the same place. He's awesome at it. If you want an engagement ring, you got to make an appointment. 215-627-2252. You can call him. If you're like, I refuse to make phone calls. Who makes phone calls anymore? Understood. Send him an email, lee@llpavorsky.com. You can tweet him at llpavorsky, a generous supporter of our charities, Mama T's Community Fridge and Providence Animal Center. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
Booby trap your loved one into lifelong partnership.
Joining us now with a title she gave herself. I don't even know what that word is. Is that laureate?
Laureate.
Poet laureate of the process, Mia Kang. Honestly, I think so. I was looking at your website earlier to come up with all of your different qualifications or whatever. And qualification number 1, you may have heard we read Mia's poem "Breach of Promise" on the pod, and everybody loved it. But then I'm looking. And you've got a PhD from Yale in art history. Wow. You're the executive director of the Philadelphia Folklore Project. And I assume the Arley Prize is a poetry award or something. So
it's
it seems like
poetry book contest. Yeah.
Yeah. You're fucking seems like you're the real deal.
Oh,
real poem
thank
shit.
you.
Yeah. Real poem shit.
Yes. Real poem shit.
Before we get to, so you have a book that's out now. Called All Empires Must, and we'll put the link in the.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, if you want to buy it, we'll put it in the show notes. Easiest way to buy it. But I went through and I was like, when did Mia first email the pod? And it was actually a couple years ago, and we never read this. You wrote a James Harden poem. Do you remember this?
I sure did. Yes, and I sent you a very funny email about that poem. And you actually did read a second one, the Joel Embiid Recovers poem, last year too.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have to. I don't know if you get paid to do this. So, do you have the James Harden poem in front of you? Could you read it?
Do.
Could you read it? I don't want to read it wrong. Could you read it?
I printed all of them out in case you did this.
Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah. Look at this. Look at how prepared.
Before you read it, could you lead us up to it? What inspired you to be like, I have to?
Oh my God.
In my your interest is the Sixers, but what you do is poetry. How do those things coalesce to be like, I must put this onto paper right now?
Right.
Well, I started writing Sixers poems. I've only been watching the Sixers for 3 years, which is insane. I've only lived in Philadelphia since 2020. And 3 years ago, I ended my engagement and I started watching basketball. And eventually, as I started writing, I also used to be a dancer when I was a kid. So watching players play injured was very moving to me. So the first poems that I wrote were about watching Joel play injured, which was very physically painful to me. And then the Harden thing was just so much drama. And I don't remember, this is from September 2023. So I don't remember exactly what was going on at that time, but I think it was when we finally got rid of him.
No, we would have gotten rid of him in 20. Oh, yes, that was it. No, right? We were on our way to getting rid of him. We didn't get rid of him until the season started, until November. Yeah. But it was in the heat of, it actually might have been right around the the children in China, Daryl Morey is a liar, you know, right after that. Yeah.
So I was just like, I felt like he was just having this kind of like emotional showing. I had this theory that he was going through like the many stages of grief or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that was the sort of inspiration behind this poem, which is called Sit Down with James Harden. Honey, I fell on the sword to feel holy once too. It was a kind of kindness, first the point and then the flesh. A gape, a bee swarm storms the cave, a wind no one can weather. Grief is the friend tapping one shoulder from behind another. Think of it this way. The poem is always about you, the one who couldn't stay.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you, the line, I love the grief is the friend tapping one shoulder from behind another. That's a good line. That's an Aces line. So I was looking through the book, and that's why I wanted you to read it. So instead of me reading it, well, because you wrote it, but it's written in a way like where there's only like 3 or 4 words per line, right? So do you, when you're writing and there's some poems in the book where the words are there's one where the words are like sort of scattered all over it, and there's one where it sort of goes in a step from left to right. Do you, when you're writing things that way, do you think about people reading them aloud a certain way, or are you trying to express something visually only? Because you didn't read the Harden one the way that I would have read it, the way that it looks like on the page, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Both. I think it's a good question. I feel like the ones that are really kind of weird in terms of the layout, I do imagine that as kind of like disruptive of the normal way that you would read just like sentences. Mm-hmm. So it like kind of puts space or air in the sound of the way that you might hear it. But in some cases it's also visual, like because the book thinks about in part architecture and Roman art, where there's like, you know, there's a lot of columns, there's a lot of weird kind of structures that do this symbolic work. Some of the layouts are also just reflective of me thinking through how all of that works to kind of like create these different aesthetic effects.
My
That's
favorite,
an interesting answer.
Yeah, I was enjoying reading through the book and seeing how many different styles you were going for in different ways. I thought that was cool. My favorite one was the author reads against herself. X proves me wrong. I know pleasure. I just don't want it. That nothing should happen is greater than or equal to what does happen. A bad outcome is an outcome I can count on, and nothing is something I can hold close.
Such a process.
Is that
poem,
about the
right?
Sixers?
It is not.
It feels like that's about the Sixers.
It is not, but I think that gives some insight into why I got on this Sixers kick, because like that's kind of my shit. So when I found the Sixers, I was like, oh, you were made for me. This book actually I finished in 2017. So it's been done for a long time. It was also written before the like recent how often do you think about the Roman Empire thing?
Right. I figured.
But
Can I tell you something about that whole trend? And I have friends who are like, yes, I get this. And I thought to myself, I have never once in my life thought about the Roman Empire. I guess I'm not a man's man or something, because I haven't, that was the whole vibe of that video thing, was that men always think about it and women do not. I've never thought about it once. Yeah,
I definitely, when I gave this book to a friend of mine who's a poet recently, they were like, Rome? Why?
Yeah.
And it was just, I was taking art history classes when I was finishing undergrad at Hunter College. And I took this Roman art class because fulfilled a requirement, and I was like, I'm going to hate this class. But then I actually loved it. And that's kind of a lot of what the book is about, is just dealing with the fact that I have all these political critiques of empire or of the iconography in that sort of body of visual culture. But when I actually engaged with looking at that stuff, I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. So I had to kind of grapple with what that meant.
Wait, tie it back to the Sixers. You were starting to.
Yeah. Well, the whole I don't know. I think the book also is about maybe coming to terms with desire for things that are not good for you, or also kind of enjoying boundaries of impossibility in a sense. And yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff about the Aurelian Wall in the book. The Aurelian Wall becomes the kind of figure for this idea of the boundary that can't be crossed.
Second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So you said this is my shit. You started becoming a Sixers fan 3 years ago. What is it about the Sixers and this era specifically that draws you to them from like sort of your very specific eye?
Yeah. So I was not a sports fan as a kid. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and I hated the football culture. I was like, this is very gross. I despise it. But then when I came to Philly, one of the components is that when I was in grad school doing this wretched PhD in New Haven, one of the ways I got through it was getting together with my friends to watch The Bachelor. And I had never watched reality TV before. And I sort of got into that culture a little bit as a way to like turn off the brain from the stupid PhD. And when I came to Philly and I started reading, I love to read local newspapers. So I read the Inquirer religiously. And I started reading all these articles about Ben Simmons, like men getting their Ben Simmons tattoos removed and trying to offload their Ben Simmons jerseys and shit like that. And I was so kind of excited by that. And I also thought that his behavior was so insane. I was kind of charmed by it, honestly. So that was why I started paying attention. Because I was like, these storylines are crazy. This is like reality TV. I totally get it. And then my friend Colin came to town. We went to a game together, and I really fell in love with just like basketball visually, having been a dancer. It's so beautiful. And especially like that year, Maxie was just like so happy and beautiful to watch. And I really, really, really loved that. And it just became like this way to kind of also use a different part of my brain. Like it's fun. I like information. It was fun to try to learn to understand. Like it's only been a few years. I'm still learning to like visually read basketball. And that's very fascinating to me as someone who never played a sport, but has all these other like modes of reading that I do. So that's kind of been like a fun brain expanding thing.
You thinking the Ben Simmons thing was so like interesting and fun is proof of your imposter. You're an imposter. Yeah, you are planted in the middle of us to observe us.
No. I came all the way in. Listen, I've been suffering.
And were you a basketball person? What you mentioned, like it was a. I'm sorry, you said you were engaged, right? And then was basketball part of your life prior to that? Or was it just basketball and Sixers and I'm just here and I need something?
Yeah. It was not really part of my life. Like my ex and I watched a little bit of basketball here and there, but it was not really a thing for me. It was really just, I have to say, if I had to name one thing that tipped it, it was going to a game. And just kind of like understanding, I don't know, all the beautiful stuff you pick up on of like getting to know the players, like physical personalities and stuff like that. It's just very fascinating. And then also as I started to absorb, like a year after that, I think was when my friend Devin told me, you got to listen to the Ricky. And once I started like really getting into the lore, then it was even more emphasized to me that this was a type of pain that I am down for.
Well, yeah, a lot of lore. The Roman Empire.
A lot of lore. Yep. Well, the one the first one we read on the pod was good. Now I've done a poem at all of our live shows, and I did invite Mia to do a poem after I do my poem, and I assured her that the crowd will certainly like her poem more than my poem, specifically because it's me. But she was like, "What have your poem like? Can you send me examples of what you've done?" And I did. So now you seem rather confident about your poem, and you said you do feel like the crowd will like yours better than mine. Okay. Yeah.
But although you just spoiled the effect by telling people in advance. So now we can't
What?
Now we can't gauge it accurately in the moment.
Whatever. There's plenty of people in the moment. The people are going to have the drinks before this even happens. They're not even going to remember this happens. Totally I promise
true.
you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Any hints, or do you just want to let it be a surprise when you get up there?
Sure. I'll give you a hint. One of the recent poems that I wrote, I mean, and these are like, I'm actually writing a full book probably of these stupid process poems.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they're they've been in progress over the past 3 years. And like, I started writing them kind of as a joke to be like, I wonder if Ricky would read a fucking poem. But then actually it's been cool. And so I've been generating them. And recently I wrote one before going to New Orleans when Joel Embiid was shut down for this season. And so the lottery party poem is a kind of sequel to that one.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're really leveling us up as a educated fan base.
You are. This is seriously like, my book came out on Tuesday officially, and this is definitely the part that I was most excited about.
Well, congratulations on the book. All Empires Must. We'll put a link in the show notes to buy it. We'll also put a link to read a sample, which you just sent me. And you're doing a reading. Do you want to plug the reading? I
am. I'm doing a reading at Ulysses Books here in Philly next Saturday at 3 p.m.
I'm a very next in this stickler. So you're talking about 26th.
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, it's very hard when it's Saturday. The next this is very difficult. Okay.
All right.
We will put that info in the show notes as well. And I look forward to you topping me on Lottery Party and Live Ricky Night.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
There she is. Mia Kang. Thank you for joining us.
Bye. See you there.
All right. Well, Jack was great. Order Jack's book. Order Mia's book. Thank you again for buying all of the tickets to the Lottery Party. And any other messages for the people, Mike, before we go?
I'm excited. I'm really excited for the Lottery Party. I think it's going to be... It
feels like you're more excited for this live event than you have been for a live event in a long time.
Well, the fact that it's not... Absolutely. It's not just... And we could talk about this on the different pod. But like, it's not just a show. It's not just, okay, we're going to talk to... I'm excited to talk to Yabusele. But the fact that it is like an event that we are watching for, and there are stakes attached to it, I think is a really big deal. And I think whether it is positive or negative, watching it all together will feel important. And it'll feel like I think community in that moment will feel good. If they get the pick, unbelievable. We're celebrating together, just like it happened when they won the Ben Simmons lottery, which turned out to be whatever it was. We don't need to get into it. But if they lose it, then all of us just sort of going like, oh God,
here we go.
Oh no, it's just mourning it. I think no matter what, it is either full joy, potential like franchise saving joy if it's a top 2 pick, or complete devastation. And then at least we're at a funeral together with all of us. And
by the way, Gershon Yabusele has no idea what he's in for. He really doesn't. Yeah. Usually they don't, but like this one, I feel like he has much less of an idea than anyone would have leading into.
I don't think anybody could. I mean, because it doesn't matter to him, right? I mean, like I'm sure if he signs here, I'm sure he hopes you get a good pick, whatever. But like he's trying to get a job, get as much money as he can, like any free agent would. This is not. Look, it could be really, really darkly funny going from lose the pick to like so. Gershon, any chance you're going to get maybe 40 times better and become a franchise player? But hopefully it's just like, you can be a really nice role player for whoever they get out of this. It's but it's a lot of possibilities.
All right. We will talk to you next time. Thanks to everyone who was on the pod today. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, like face.
If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you.
If you don't fuck with me,
then I won't fuck with you.
But if you fuck with me,
I'm gonna fucking kill you! Time for plan B.